Hi there. We're going to do some cleanups in our inventory app that we were working on. Okay, just to finalize some of the screens, use fake data to see how our data would look like. So let's begin. We started our low-code app, and then what we do, we go to the inventory project that we did. What we're going to do is, for example, here, the primary key and the display value are not defined. So for each of these, we need to define them. Primary key is the ID, and the display value is basically the name. So for products, let's do that. These are the fields that we have defined there. So we can do an edit and choose which field is going to be the primary key. It's not auto increment. The display value for a product when it's going to be deleted is the name. And then the alpha chooser is also going to be the name. The alpha chooser, as I've indicated in these chips here, the column chooser is this one here. So these will have a column chooser to show visible and hidden columns. So that's fine. Let's do that the same for the purchases. Purchases is primary key is ID, display value. Let's make it ID because at this particular moment it could be anything here. Okay, because there's no determinant here. And then alpha chooser, purchases. Maybe what you need to do for the purchases, we can have a purchase order number, which I think it will work fine because you purchase based on that, or maybe an invoice number that we can use. Being is yeah, maybe we'll use a purchase order. Let's add that, and then we will add that sales will make it primary key is the invoice. Okay. The primary key is the ID, the display value. For sales, for example, we are selling to someone, then we need to have kind of an invoice number or receipt number. And because the sale is the money that is being paid, for example, needs to be recorded against a particular document. So for now, let's just make it in yeah, an ID, display value, primary key, alpha chooser. Okay. I think for the sales and also for the purchases, we'll have to add a purchase order, and then the sale will need to make a receipt number. And then the suppliers, the primary key is the ID, display value, a supplier name, and then alpha chooser is a supplier name. Okay, so let's do this. Let's add a purchase order for purchases, and then for sales, let's add a receipt because I think it's a closer reflection of the kind of document that we'll be dealing with when it comes to purchases. So let's go to purchases. What we're going to do, if you view this now, go there and select add. So this is the purchase date, supplier, product, quantity, price, and then the total amount, and then created an add. So I think for it to be more informative for us, let's perhaps add a purchase order. So we're going to clone that and then PO number. Okay. Let's say this is the purchase order number. Okay. And then let's say it's required. Let's apply it. So basically, this is going to sit there, and so we can make this to be 1 1, and then make this one to be 1 2. Default value column type is normal. The purchase date column type here. Let's make it date because we want to display it as a date when we see it. Default value. Okay, we make this to be now. Date picker, all sorts of things. Okay. Let's do this also. Let's just try and generate some fake data based on what we have here. We're going to hide the default value. We're going to hide the for the ID, we're going to generate fake data for ID. Purchase order, let's just have the system generate a number for us. So it's fine. Purchase date, let's fake data be date. Supply name, it's going to be the company name. Fake data, it helps us just to show how the thing will look like. Product, quantity, let's make it a number also, so that we can just see how the app will, total amount is also a number. So as you can see here, this will display as thousands. Product name, this is date. We can hide this information on the form because usually this information is controlled by code, and when we want to edit, so we can just not decide to hide it on the form itself. So let's do that. Visible on the form, visible on the form. So we hide that one, and then on the column visibility for the, okay, that one is, yeah. So purchase date, order, we want it to be visible. Column visible, we want it to be on also. So what we've done now is just define the kind of fake data that can be generated for this particular table so that we see how the application will look like at the end. So total amount is 516162. Okay, let's go and view how our system will look like when we create it. So as we can see, it has created some fake data here, fake data. So there's 20 records that it has created, the purchase date, purchase from who, what was the product, how many quantities were bought, unit price, and total. These are not correlated to each other. It's just fake data for the sake of fake data, just to see. Total amount is money, per unit price is money, this is thousands. So let's do this. We need to add a total here, you know. So this in a way helps you when you're designing your application to say, if I'm creating this, how will it look like, you know? So let's do this. Let's add a total amount. So column total, we go through to your total amount. We need it to be total at the bottom. So what you see here is like what we'll be able to get when the application is created via code. So we're just defining some parameters here. For example, if this was running, so you'd say edit, and then it will actually show this information in this particular format. Like for example, your purchase order is here, your purchase date is there, with a date picker, your supplier name. These are derived from, this will be derived from the list of suppliers. That's why you don't see anything here now in relation to what is on the table, the quantity, the unit price, the amount. And the issue here also is the design. The total amount is taking the whole row. We need this to be like just like quantity, so we can place the whole placeholder on the side of the screen so that it doesn't take the whole row. But from what we have done so far here in relation to this, at least it's kind of like making our design look more interesting in a way. So let's go back, and what we need to do is to add a placeholder for the total amount. But basically you can do this because this is not a visible column. We can just put this one there. Okay, then let's go there back, and then let's add our record. See, now the created that will be here, so that's why it's showing not taking the whole row now. Okay, this looks better. So we do have a unique entry here in relation to the purchase order number. So that is what we can use to define our table definitions in relation to purchases. So what we need to do is to go back here. Now our display value was ID. Now what we can do is to change it to the purchase order. Display value, PO, PO number, so that when it asks you what record you want to design, it shows that, and then the alpha chooser, we can choose the purchase order also. Okay, so let's go and see how our fake data looks like now and how our form looks. So this is other. Okay, this is a number basically. Okay, this is all. Okay, now if we say add here, okay, it's creating a fake data for us, but at least it's making a little bit of sense in relation to what we want to do. We'll show in relation to how to translate this to a working application and then deploy it. Because we're using IndexedDB, the data will be stored on the cloud. So let's do that. Okay, let's work on the other forms. Okay, now let's do this. Let's go back and work on, what are we forgetting here? Order by. Okay, let's order this by purchase date. Focus on the field to focus on when we're opening our screen. It will be our purchase order. Okay. Foreign tables. Okay, let's see. We need to load the supplier and the IT and the name, products, the IT and the name. Okay, that's fine. What else do you want to compute? You want to compute the total amount here. Compute value for the total amount, because the total amount should be the quantity times the unit price. So we can compute the value of each row when we display it. Okay, so we will have to write a method for that to happen. We'll show you. And then I think for now, column visible, I'm just checking that we have everything in order here so that we can do that. And we can move to the next form. Column total. Column total is the quantity unit price, as you can see. Okay. All right. I think all in all, we're doing well. I think all in all, we're doing well. Purchases. When our application is running, it will show information like this, and it will show column chooser. And then we can see, okay, there's the date updated and created at product name. As you can see now, you do have a feel in terms of how your application will look like. So we will produce something like this. This is a select all. Well, for example, if you want to delete all of your records, for example, then you do your select all and it tells you how many records that want to be deleted here. This works per page because it's 20 records, and then that's that. Okay, now what we can do is to look at the other tables before we even generate our source code, because we're just planning now in relation to everything else working fine. So let's go through to our products, column type and fake type. Let's see how is that going. Let's hide the fields. So ID is ID also here, and then the name here is going to be a product. Product is going to be a product. SKU is going to be SKU. Description, perhaps we can make it lorem ipsum. The price, let's make it a number. So quantity, let's make it a number also. But now the interesting thing now on the product, we kind of need something like that, like only like a product of value, where the price times quantity gives us the value of that particular product. You know, so we perhaps have to go and add that, so that it gives us a total value of the stock items based on the price and the quantity. So let's do this. Let's see how our Default values. Okay, I think we're fine for now. Okay, default values. Let's see, visible. Okay, let's also hide this one because there's really no need to show these ones unless it's very crucial for audit trail purposes. And then order by, we're going to order by name of the product when we're selecting our records from the database. Focus on is the row that we want to focus on when we enter a new product or edit it. Column totals. Column totals, we need to have price, we need to just have stock totals, column visible, description, okay, is not visible, stock quantity, column visible, the ID we do not want it to be visible. So compute value, there's nothing here, computing, okay, cool. Now let's do this. Let's see how our application will look like. We've defined fake data. So if you select A, it will select all our products starting with an A, you know, B, D, drone, H, hair, and all sorts of other things. Of course, these are not correlated with each other, but just for demonstration purposes, the SKUs are there. Description, if you want to show it, it's showing our lorem ipsum. So let's just hide that one. And then created it. If you want to add that one, then it can add that. Now, what we need to do is to show the value of the particular product, which is going to be price times quantity. Let's perhaps add that column. So we have a product name, we have an SKU, we have a description, we have price, we have stock on hand. Then let's do product value. So what we're going to do, let's clone this record, and then we're going to call this one product value. Product value. So which will be the value of that particular product and based on stock quantity and price. Product value. So this needs to be a double because quantity is integer, price is a double. And then we can put this on 5.1. Okay, let's say apply. So product value is in 5.1. We move this one down a little bit, but we're not showing this one anyway. So this one, let's put it on 5.2 so that at least the product value it shows on. Okay, this is a text box. It's fine. Double times, okay, that, and then we're going to do fake value and then column type. Then on the column type, let's make this to show as a money, and then fake type is a number. Okay, so let's test our theory here. Go to preview of our application. There it is. We have product value now. Basically, for each product, we know the price times quantity, which will give us that when it's calculated. So yeah, I think everything is going well. Chipex and the toaster. Okay. The only thing that we don't have here is images of the particular product, but it's something that we can add at a future date. For now, let's just continue with the play that we have here. So we need the product value to be totaled. So it is totaled here because we are cloning the other record and things. Okay, cool. Let's see. We do a preview of fake data. We do an add. So there we go. Price, stock, quantity. And then when we delete a product, we need to base it on the name. Okay. Now sales, we said on sales we're going to have to add a receipt number. So let's do this. Let's first of all see how this thing goes. There's no fake data that is generated here. Let's say add, okay, sale date, and all sorts of things. Okay, now what we need here, let's do add a receipt number so that at least we are able to define a particular document to be linked to that particular sale. So we're going to clone that record and say text box, and then we're going to receipt number. Okay, receipt number. There we go. All right, let's just click apply here. So we have a receipt number. Let's move this one down. So it's going to be 3. Receipt number is going to be the first one. This one is going to be 1, 2. Okay. Now, what we have here is we have defined a receipt number for our sale. So let's do this. Let's have some fake data working on this. ID, receipt number, let's make it number. This is going to be a text box. Receipt number, let's make this normal information that will show there. Sale date is date picker, fake data is a date, customer name, normal, fake data, let's just put the full name of a person. Products, let's just put a product to show how this thing will work. Quantity is going to be a number, and then unit price is going to be a number. We know for a fact that when a sale is being done, someone selects a product from the select group, then we need to pick up the unit price from the stock that is available. Then let's make this a number also. But then the column type here should be money because we want it to appear as money. The unit price we also want it to appear as money. And then the quantity will make it thousands format. Product name is a normal, date. Okay. Now, total amount is a number, it's money. Okay, cool. Now let's do this. Let's do some other things. Default values, 1111111. Sale date. We're going to make this now. Product name is going to be a choice that is being made by the particular person. Okay, and then visible. What shows are going to be visible in our form. Everything here except for that, and then focus on the receipt number because that will be the first input component. And then we want to order by the sale date. Okay, and then column total. One column total is to be on the quantity, one total columns to be on the unit price, and then one to be on the total amount. Total amount being quantity times unit price. And then we need to be also computed, which basically means that the total amount needs to be computed. Okay, that's fine. What am I missing? Okay, compute value required, visible. Let's check on our foreign things. Focus on, because we're selecting a product, ID name, foreign table, products. Okay, I think we're going well. Let's see now in terms of fake data generation. Then, okay, fine. If we were selling, then we will be having the sale date, the customer, the product that is being sold, the quantity, the unit price, and the total amount. Okay, we've indicated that the total amount, unit price, and things should have a totals. So here we are missing a column chooser, because if we want to hide some of the columns here, not to show them, then they shouldn't be shown. So let's do that for sales. Let's do a column chooser. Let's add it there. Okay, alpha chooser field. I think we have that. But now for the sales, because we do have a receipt number, let's change this to be display value. We want to delete the sale based on a particular receipt. Alpha chooser based on a particular receipt number. Okay. Currently, our alpha choosers do not work on foreign information that we have. So let's go back, sales. Let's see how our table will look like. Cool. Now you see that we have a column chooser now. Okay. So next page, the ID. This is not supposed to be there. So what we need to do, on the ID, we need to change the column type to be none, so that it's not considered for showing on the table. Okay, so let's show again. Yeah, then it's hidden there. So we have receipt number, the date, customer name, the product, the quantity, the price, and the total amount. So this is looking fine in a way, you know. It's an application that we can create and then try and deploy. Now, the next one is the suppliers. Let's also just see here in terms of if everything is working well. Suppliers, okay, we need to generate fake data so that we can see how our application will look like. Let's start with the column type. The ID is none, because we don't want the ID to be shown on the table. The name is normal, the contact is normal, the phone is normal, this is the email, and then the address is normal. Okay, now fake type. The fake type for, let's just hide the field. The fake type for this one is the ID, which is fine. The name here, because it's a supplier, we can just use a company name. And then the contact, we can use a full name. And then for the phone, we'll use a phone. And then email, it should be an email. And then the address, maybe we can use a country or something, or a city. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is required. We need to have a phone of a person and all sorts of other things. So let's make everything here required. And then we've specified the fake data. Default values is fine. Visible on the form. Everything is visible except for the ID. Order by. We want to order by name. Okay. We'll focus on the name when the form is opened. There's nothing to total here. There's no foreign relations with other tables. Let's go and view how our table will look like. So our table will look like this. We have the name of the supplier, the contact person, the telephone number, the email, and then the address of the person, which is basically will depend on. Now our column chooser here is active. So when you click add, this is what will happen. Add supplier, and then we click edit, that particular edit. So as you can see, from all of these, we have been able to define fake data that will actually show us how our application will look like when we are actually making it work. So the next step, what we'll do is to, the width is 700 and stuff. Okay, it's singular. Singular is fine. Plural is fine. Excuse me. So in the meantime, what we have done is to make all our forms to be models, basically meaning that if our application, we had generated the source code and things, the form will be modeled like this and stuff. So this leg of the tutorial was just showing us in terms of how do we generate the fake data, and also how do we take the process forward in terms of generating the user interface, generating our tables, and how our tables we want our tables to look like. So the next step will be to take this particular inventory to production. So we're going to do that next.